Could there be some sort of alliance between Washington, the UK, and President Assad to defeat Islamic State?
Well, look, Tim, even though Assad is part of the problem, there could be no solution, not only to the Islamic State, but the larger question in Iraq and Syria without engaging the Syrian government. That is, you have to engage the Syrian government. What we're talking about here is a political settlement that takes into account the interests of the opposition, the Syrian opposition, and the Syrian government. So how do we go from here? You need to end the regional war by proxy that's taking place between Turkey and Saudi Arabia and Qatar on the one hand, and Iran. You want to bring Russia in and Iran, part of a grand bargain. That's what we're talking about.
Okay, but that grand bargain will take months, if not years, to sort out, won't it? I mean, at the moment, we're looking at Islamic State, which is being hit by airstrikes, which need to be made in Syria as well. And without getting permission from the Syrian authorities, their air defence system would take down a coalition of allied jets.
In the last 3 days, the Syrian government has carried out almost 200 airstrikes against the Islamic State in its headquarters in Al-Raqqa. You're raising a big question. The nerve center and the headquarters of the Islamic State is not in Iraq, is in Syria. Syria is a very important base. But make no doubt about it, Tim, this fight against the Islamic State will take years. Complex, costly, prolonged, difficult. So even though you have to think of the short term, how do we stop the advances of the Islamic State in order to deny the Islamic State its social oxygen, to deny it its space? You have to basically deny it from the inside out. You have to dislodge the Islamic State from within local communities. That is, local communities that portrays itself as defender of persecuted Sunnis.
Philip Hammond, the British Foreign Secretary, has ruled out any sort of deal with Syria. But is it your view, even though you say it could take years to defeat Islamic State, if you can persuade Sunni tribesmen in Iraq, for example, that they will be part of an inclusive government, they could turn on Islamic State, having given them help beforehand?
And that's exactly what happened between 2006 and 2010.
The awakening.
Who defeated Al-Qaeda in Iraq? It was the Sunnis, Sunni tribes, Sunni communities. This fight cannot be won, Tim, by air power. Regardless of how potent American and British air power, it has to be won from within, by local communities. And yes, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a grand bargain with local communities in Iraq, a grand bargain with local communities in Syria. In the meantime, you have to use military means to stop the surge of the Islamic State. But in order to really basically end this particular social epidemic, you need to strengthen the social body politic, that is the local communities.
And can the new Iraqi Prime Minister, Dr. al-Abadi, do that?
This is the challenge. All of us are asking the same question. The next few weeks will show whether Haidar al-Abadi has the will and the capacity and the foresight in order to really include all elements of Iraqi communities, not just the Sunnis, the Kurds, the Shia, the Sunnis, create a genuine government, a national unity government that begin the process of rolling back the surge of the Islamic State.
Just looking at the attack on the mosque today by Shia militia against a Sunni mosque, how close are we, do you think, to falling back across the whole of Iraq into the dark days of the insurgency and sectarian war?
Everything that you and I have been talking about now, it's just off the window as a result of this particular attack. The Islamic State is a parasite. It feeds and breeds on sectarianism and instability. Now you'll see the propaganda. The Shiites are killing the Sunnis, back to square one. You ask me, how do you integrate the Sunni communities into the government? This is the kind of attack that does a great deal of damage.
But in the past, the Shia have not reacted to perhaps greater provocations from the Sunni.
Well, in fact, they did between 2003 and 2007. Iraq was in the... That's really where the fear is. You want to create... Absolutely. Yeah. And this is really where we need to go. You need a national unity government, a government based on the rule of law. That's the way to fight the Islamic State, is to roll it back from inside Iraq and Syria.